The Nerd and Tie podcast is, unsurprisingly, a part of the Nerd and Tie podcast network. For more podcasts from actual play to true crime to witchcraft, go to nerdandtie.com or join our Discord by finding an invite at nerdandtie.com/Discord. Did you know you could sponsor Nerd and Tie? That's right, for just some money, we'd let you do that. Like $20, I'll say something cool about you or something. Just go to nerdandtie.com, click on the sponsor our show form. It's a thing you can do if you feel like it, which we'd like you to do, I guess. On this month's episode of Nerd and Tie, the Texas Supreme Court has denied the last of Vic Mignogna's appeals. MagFest is pulling GamerGate jokes in this year. Somebody went to EverCon, apparently. Avatar 2 has managed to outgross Star Wars Episode 7, I guess. And Neo Anime Oasis has put out the craziest statement I have seen in a long time. All that plus the Vomit Hat Steve Challenge on this month's Nerd and Tie. Welcome to Nerd and Tie, the only podcast on the internet with a dress code. I am one of your hosts, Trey Dorn. I can say my name. I swear I can say my name.
Oh dear.
Joining me, as always, are the wondiferous Celeste.
Word up, everybody.
And the
Gotta get over this cameo thing.
And the pocket-sized fun of Genproc.
It's going to be one of those episodes.
This is our it's our first show of 2023. And, this is halfway through this year, we're going to hit 10 years doing this show.
Oh, that's weird.
That's wild.
That's weird to
I feel
think
like I
about.
need to apologize to the audience because I got my COVID booster yesterday and I was down for the count most of the day.
So
Still better than actual COVID by leaps and bounds.
So we gotta figure out, maybe we'll do some 10th anniversary special at No Brand Con on Labor Day weekend or something.
I'm down. I like that.
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah,
It'd be fun.
because that'll be just after we hit 10 years, and it will be not that far away from where I originally pitched the idea of Nerd and Tie. I mean, there's a person we're not going to mention, but anyways, moving into this month's actual show, our first topic is this happened right after we did our previous episode. This happened on December 30th of 2022, but Vic Mignogna, whose case we have been following, he of course was still trying to fight his case and appealed yet again. Even after his appeals got rejected, tried to petition to get the Supreme Court of Texas to look at it. But it's the end of December. The Supreme Court of Texas.
Amazing.
Supreme Court of Texas officially denied Vic Mignogna's petition, and it did nothing but it delayed the inevitable by 3 weeks with the judgment of the appeals court, and it cost him $60,000 to do it.
It's amazing because what
He's just donating to the Texas state government at this point.
And his fans are still trying to argue that he hasn't lost. It's he has lost everything. He's continuing to lose everything, and he will continue to lose everything.
All he does is lose, 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 lose.
Mm-hmm.
It is sad.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, let me tell you, sometimes Vic Mignogna news just gets so sad we don't even talk about it. When he went on that live stream pantsless and flashed everybody his tighty whities. We didn't even talk about that back when that happened. Was that November?
It's just the dude cannot. It blows my mind that people can still take this man seriously. Like, this is every time there where you think he's hit a new low, he just gets out a shovel and he goes lower somehow. It's amazing.
Oh yeah.
It's my favorite screenshot from like Kiwi Farms in the wake of this. It's this person going like, interesting tidbit. The Supreme Court of Texas denied his motion, not refused it. That means they saw error in the appellate court's judgment, but decided that oh my God, no, that's not what it means.
That's not how that works,
That's not how
guys.
this works. That's not how this works.
They toss that shit out like I toss out my cat's litter bag at the end of the week. Like, yeah, I cannot imagine still supporting this cretin at this point. Like, it's somehow it always finds a way to get more sad.
It's cope. It's just a bowl full of cope. Eat it.
Basically,
I don't know, like I know that like there's like no real like there's nothing really more to add to that. It's just it's such this amazing like he won't let it go away.
And okay, I do want to add one thing, and I know the Vic fans aren't going to listen, but I want to put this reminder out to them. Vic put himself in this position. No one took him to court. He took other people to court, and he lost and continues losing. He put himself in this. No one else was going to do this to him. He keeps finding new ways to ruin his own life. No one was going to do this to him. No one forced this upon him. He's not the victim. He tried unsuccessfully to use the law to punish his enemies and keeps failing at it. That's what's going on here, guys.
It's amazing. It's just amazing.
Like, he keeps moving it up the line and keeps trying and failing. It's the saddest thing. Literally the saddest thing. It's just, I really wanted to make that abundantly clear, because you still sometimes see Vic supporters, and I feel bad for you guys, because I know that it's a cliche to touch grass, but touch some goddamn grass. Like,
oh yeah, no, we
put
can't
himself
touch
in this situation.
I am sorry there. We can't go outside and touch grass. It's covered in snow.
Stick your hand in the snowbank and touch the grass that's dead underneath it.
It's negative 4
what they said. I say this in Janesville, where we had like a snowstorm, like cartoonishly bad, like 2 days ago. So everywhere you look outside, it's just snow.
That people stick their hands in snowbanks to punish them.
I mean,
because I am mean and bitter.
But it's, I mean, like you made a very good point there, Celeste. It's like this, Vic volunteered for this. That's the amazing thing about this entire situation, is that he chose to make this happen, and it's telling that how far down the line he had to get to an attorney who took the case. Like, it's so amazingly stupid. And it's shown an absolute arrogance and disconnection from his actual, like, reputation and position. Like, to have that lack of awareness of what other people think of you is amazing.
It's astonishing.
His biggest contribution to anime was being the lead character in a series that both versions of it are more than a decade old now.
Yeah.
I mean, that and being Screamy Yelly Man in Dragon Ball, which, I'm sorry, no one is looking at the character of Broly for a deep and nuanced performance. And that's coming from someone who loves Dragon Ball. Like, it's cartoonish. It's sad that this guy is so inflated in his ego that he thinks that he has something to defend, and he's the lead actor in a niche cult cartoon series, and his biggest role was more than a decade ago. It's pathetic.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's so washed up, he's inland. Like, and at this point, you start to wonder if he's just doing this nonsense to like keep his name out there. But if he is, he's doing it for all the wrong reasons.
No, I think
and he's actively destroying his reputation.
I think he literally has no real sense of the reality of the situation. I think that he has been able to live in denial this long and is so insulated from the reality that he lives in that he just doesn't know.
I'm inclined to agree. I think he has been so disconnected from. It's like millionaires and billionaires, like, but sadder.
Yeah,
like because you get so disconnected from the way normal people act and behave. You don't know how people act anymore, and I'm willing to stake this. Maybe I'll it seem like I'm putting my foot in my mouth somehow, but I don't think Vic Mignogna has ever experienced like what being or I shouldn't say has ever experienced, but I think it's been a very long time since he experienced what being a normal person is like, and understanding that starring in an anime, it doesn't mean anything. Like, not to be that person, but it doesn't mean you're like the hottest shit in the world. You're in something. It means a lot to some people, but it's not. You're not fucking Chris Evans. You're not Robert Downey Jr. You're just some cartoon voice, and most people aren't going to even know you were in it.
Hey, he could be Chris Evans, just British Chris Evans.
I'm scared to ask what that means.
There's a British celebrity named Chris Evans.
Oh, okay.
He's a television presenter. He was briefly married to Billie Piper.
Okay.
From 2001 to 2007. There was a massive age difference, though.
Oh, gross. Okay.
He was born in 1966.
I'm not loving this already.
Billie Piper was born in 1982.
Ooh, I knew I didn't love where that was going. Okay.
And they got married in 2001. I'll let you do some math.
Ooh. I guess I do want to. Well, I'm trying to wash that grossness out of my brain. I guess I should clarify. I'm not saying that doing voice work for anime doesn't matter at all. I have people who I consider friends who have been in several anime dubs, and I love them to death. But those people who I consider friends don't have this weird air of I'm so important about them.
Yeah.
They recognize that they got an acting gig, and the fans who love them, but that doesn't mean that doesn't transfer to being a megastar.
Well, and
that's
yeah, it's like I've met a lot of voice actors over the years, and I have enjoyed meeting most of them. Not all, but most. And most of them are most of them understand exactly like their level of fame. You know what I mean? Like that they are a niche celebrity and that the work that they do can be the things that they are in can be very important emotionally to the fans that they have, but that they are only one piece of the puzzle.
Right.
And it's because, with any characters like this, writing and it,
and in this case, when it comes to dubbing anime, you're the second person playing that character.
Yes.
It's like
Yeah. Anyways, speaking of people signing up for their own problems and living in a bubble, MagFest happened at the beginning of the month.
Roy diggity.
And, MagFest put up what was apparently intended to be some humorous signs so when they're big banners with directions to different parts of the hall, it, would point, this way to D&D free play, this way to Pathfinder Society, this way to that. And then at the bottom of some of their signs, there was the words Kotaku's journalistic integrity, with then a 404 and a magnifying glass with an X in it. Now, for those of you who don't remember 9 years ago, GamerGate was this thing that happened to all of us. And they have a bit of an obsession with Kotaku, and this is literally the biggest GamerGate dog whistle that I have seen in a long time.
Mostly because everyone else figured out GamerGate was cringe, well over 5 years ago.
I guess I would have gone with deeply dangerous and offensive before I went with cringe. I reserve cringe for that's just kind of awkward. This is, you're a fuckhead.
So what I'm saying is that the people who supported it have had trouble standing by it. Basically, after Stephen Colbert made fun of them on a public stage, even they didn't want to be associated with it. That's what I was trying to get across. It wasn't communicated well, but yeah.
See, I don't think that's the case, because a lot of them are Vic Mignogna stands. It's the same guys. They didn't change.
I hate that you're right.
It's anyways, the one of the fucking guys in charge of MagFest posted from his personal account after it effectively blew up on Twitter right before the convention, right at the beginning of the convention this year, that we'll pull the banner. This is supposed to be a snarky joke and certainly not meant to be taken seriously. All of our nav banners have little shitposty messages on the bottom. It was not a reference to anything in particular, though. Certainly not GG. I'm referring to GamerGate. Sorry to Kotaku. Heart. And I'm just like...
Snarky joke about what?
What's the joke about?
Yeah, what's the joke?
What's the fucking joke?
Explain the joke.
I mean...
Explain the joke.
People I know went to MagFest, and I think most of the other signs were snarky things about anime, or certain like this anime character, blah blah blah, and really harmless snarky stuff.
Yeah, like the jokes you expect.
Yeah, exactly. And this one's weirdly targeted.
This one is literally a GamerGate dog whistle.
Yeah, it's okay, now you've gone a step too far.
In joke about D&D, hate movement toward queer and queer people and women.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
And the tweet I just read was from the communications director, Dak, and dude's avatar is a little Reddit guy. You can't tell me that he does not immediately recognize the reference. It's just... what the absolute... fuck. I've dropped the F-bomb twice here, but I'm just MagFest is... I know a lot of people who like MagFest, but I don't know. Stuff just keeps happening,
Yeah, it's just it's such a bad look, and again, it's that thing that I always ask anytime, and that anyone should ask. It's just a helpful life skill from me. If someone does something awful and they say it's just a joke, have them explain the joke. If they start feeling guilty as they explain the joke, or sadly more often, if they start saying something fundamentally awful to explain the joke, then it's not a joke. It's just hate. It's just bigotry, and they don't have the balls to say that it's bigotry.
Well, and MagFest, so internal stuff. I haven't, it's been quiet for a couple of years, but if you remember at the end of 2020 and the beginning of 2021, there was the entire issue where a number of angry staff members made allegations of harassment against other management members, and then a couple weeks later, in January of 2021, all 6 members of the MagFest board of directors resigned, I've had concerns about their internal culture for a few years now. So the fact that this is happening, it may be time to kind of, I don't know, write off MagFest.
It's not doing them any favors. It's a really bad look.
I haven't
insanely bad luck.
There
honestly.
are plenty of conventions out here where you don't hear this kind of stuff this frequently. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it you got if you're part of convention staff, you really have to think about how things are portrayed and how it reflects on your business at large, because if you do stuff like this, it's going to alienate people and not want them to come visit you and give you money, which you need to keep going. It's just dumb, and it's not thinking of the big picture.
I had to break it to these guys, but the kind of people that go to these kind of conventions aren't just one demographic. There are a lot of different kinds of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to give a fun little nod to your particular brand of weirdos, that's
you have the right to do that, but but then the people who you're hurting also have the right to not give you any money.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much all we have about the MagFest situation. Other than just general concern.
My biggest misstep was not acknowledging just the fact that it is deeply concerning. It's not just, it's really sad that they're posting things that were internet memes from the 2015-16. They're perpetuating some hateful stuff that could really hurt their attendees.
Mm-hmm.
That's incredibly irresponsible. Yeah.
I mean, the fact that the main GamerGate Reddit is literally Kotaku in action.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on to the next story. Someone went to EverCon?
I did. Just for a little bit, though.
Yeah, I wanted to bring it up just because EverCon is always kind of one of our main conventions pre-pandemic, and was the last con I went to before the pandemic hit. And so since Gan went, I thought we should talk about it a little bit, because it would feel weird to go a year without talking about EverCon.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so and this, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is with new management.
I think
right?
The management actually took over last year.
Last year, okay. But there were some definite changes I saw this year. First of all, with the layout of the convention, how they used the space, they used much more of it. I think they used all the convention center space that there is available to them. And when I walked into the main area, and as we said before, this is primarily a tabletop convention. And so instead of a main programming, they have a large central space full of tables and chairs where you can rent board games and play them. They have a large open play space as their main area. And when I walked in there, and this was Saturday afternoon is when I went, and it was bumping. It was more bumping than I had ever seen it.
That's what I heard from my friend Azure, who they were selling this year. They're a custom dice maker.
Huh.
Yeah. So attendance was up for them, just from what I could see. Yeah. I don't have much to say because I literally just went with a friend and we played some board games and then went home.
So when you say they're
Like-
taking up all the, I kind of, that convention center is actually pretty large. Like they only ever used like maybe a third of that convention center historically.
Here's the thing. Where the vendor room used to be,
yeah,
they kind of closed that off and turned it into more, I don't know if it was like more gaming space or storage space, but they moved all of vendors to a large room that was past video games.
yeah. So on the other
that they
side,
had never previously used before.
yeah, there are a couple of there are two large halls down there. So
Yeah.
maybe they just started using one of the two large halls. I mean, it's possible they were using all of it.
I think they're using both large halls because one of them is for video games and the other one was for vendors.
I mean, it's pretty I'd have to take. It's because we were before we moved to Steve, like because NowhereCon we just moved to Stevens Point. We actually looked at that convention center, and the amount of space available in that place is actually enormous. Like EverCon was like literally only using a third of the available space in that building when the last time I was there.
Okay.
So
we'll have to go over a map.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean,
I point out.
I just want to be like, because I just want to be clear about the actual. I mean, because it's possible they were using all of it. It's just like that's
they were definitely
a lot.
using more of the space.
Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, I'm kind of sad to know that they moved the vendor room, but I guess that's okay. They're allowed to change and adapt to their growing size, I guess.
I guess if they have to.
Yeah, I like EverCon. Yeah. Eventually, I'm going to go to EverCon again. It's just, I have issues going to any con that doesn't have like a strong COVID policy right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I know people who've literally ended up with COVID a third time. So I'm just like, because of where they work, and yeah.
Once was more than enough. Thank you very much.
Same hat. Oh yeah,
more than enough.
All right. So I think I'm assuming that's your entire EverCon report. It's gotten bigger.
It's gotten bigger. I was literally only there for a couple hours, so I don't have much to say. I mean, I won a game at the silent auction, so yay.
Nice. What game?
Mantis.
Nice.
So I'm gonna let's move on to our next story. We're gonna talk about something not involving a convention, just real briefly here.
Weird.
What the heck?
And that is, guys, I know I talked about other people living in a bubble, but apparently, Avatar 2 has overtaken Star Wars: The Force Awakens at the global box office and has now grossed over $2.117 billion.
Oh my gosh, I can't
making
believe
it the is now only behind the only films in film history that have grossed more money are Titanic, the original Avatar, and Avengers Endgame. And it's really weird that out of the top 4 movies, 3 of them were directed by James Cameron.
And 3 of them have Zoe Saldana in them.
Yeah. But I guess my question is that, like, who are the people seeing this movie?
I'm going to be honest. This actually does not surprise me in the slightest. Like, it's...
Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, I haven't seen it. But again, have you seen it?
No.
Okay.
I honestly don't care to.
The only movies I go to cinemas for during COVID, though, are so far have been foreign films that I don't know if and when I'll get to see them again. I saw Shin Ultraman a couple weeks ago. I don't go to blockbusters that I know are going to be on Disney Plus because I don't want to risk it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. Again, it's that thing of earlier last year, had you told me, like based on being someone who makes content on the internet and hangs out a lot on YouTube, watches other people's content, had you told me they're doing another Game of Thrones show, I would have been like, oh, everyone hated that ending so much, that's going to be dead in the water. And apparently that Matt Smith House of the Dragon has been getting tons of viewership.
Has
Yeah,
it?
people love that show.
People absolutely love that show.
I mean, I believe that though, but I actually see people talking about that. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Here's
People love Avatar. Maybe it's not the people who like
No,
make our videos, but
that's
your
why
grandpa probably, maybe not your grandpa, your dad, someone.
I was
gonna
say both my
Avatar.
grandfathers are dead, so I really hope they don't love Avatar.
I'm just saying, like the average people still don't have the negativity that was directed toward that movie from like internet critics. They just kind of liked it and wanted and have been waiting for more.
I guess it's I didn't never get the impression that people hated it. Like I didn't get the impression that like the world hated Avatar. I just got the impression that the world didn't really care that much. And I guess it's more so that like I remembered the reaction to Avatar being was people going like, "Oh yeah, I liked that," but it coming out at a time where like people were more likely to casually go to cinema.
But like also like I mean, again, I haven't gone to see it because of the stuff I mentioned before.
I know a lot of people are curious to see it, but most of them are just going to wait for it to come on to streaming.
A bunch of my friends who are like into like the sci-fi movie scene, including host of our sister show Casual Trek, Miles Reed Lobato, were really excited to go see it.
Okay.
So yeah, it's
I'm
like
correct.
James
I'm living
Cameron
in a bubble.
movies. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I guess
I mean, I'm with you. Like I
don't know. Like a bunch
personally, I don't really care. That's just my deal. I'm probably not gonna go see it because I don't care. I saw the first one, but only because I was dragged to it. But yeah, the Avatar franchise, went way bigger than we think it did.
I mean, there's that theme park. That Jenny
they made
Nicholson
an
did
entire
that
theme
excellent
park
tour.
of it. Cirque du Soleil did an arena show of the first one that toured.
When the first movie was in theaters, there was an Avatar drink at my favorite bar in Stevens Point. Like, I'm not even kidding. It was
like I don't know. And like with this one, I'm kind of not surprised that the general populace is loving it so much, solely because of the advertising I've been seeing for like stuff that's like for example, there's like a line of cosmetics.
Yeah.
That's all like the Avatar palette, and like I'm just like, that's weird. So like the amount of marketing of stuff that's going to the general populace for this movie is kind of crazy. So I'm not surprised that the reaction is for them to go nuts about it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess like also though, like I've also seen some indigenous people who have asked people not to see Avatar 2 because of
because of the
yeah. So
his views on stuff is not great.
Native American advocates have called for the boycott of the film, so that's why I'm also kind of like, yeah.
No, that's fair, and I guess it's something that I need to take more seriously. It's one of those things. It's something that I personally should probably look into a little bit more. Earlier today, I was talking to my doctor about J.K. Rowling, and he was completely in the dark about some of the horrible stuff she's doing.
Yeah.
And because he's not in that world, I'm not surprised he missed it. And because I'm not in that world, I absolutely missed a lot of that discourse, and I'm going to have to go read it now. It's
Mr. Cameron has viewpoints on things.
Some questionable viewpoints. That is very true.
All right. Yeah. So,
apparently Avatar 2 is doing good. We don't really know why.
All right.
People want to see some water Navi.
I mean, to be fair, the clips I've seen of the special effects actually do look really good. The visual effects look fantastic. It is a technological marvel.
I mean, that's kind of. I mean, I feel like you don't spend 10 years on visual effects to not have it turn out like at least interesting to look at.
I'm sure there's someone who has spent 10 years on visual effects and they've turned out terrible.
I mean,
somebody.
That's what I said. Interesting to look at. That's not the same as a good judgment. That's a interesting or not interesting.
All right.
I call the 1986 Transformers movie interesting, not because it's good, but because if you look down from that movie and look up, it will be a wildly different setting. Like
the Transformers movie where Hasbro fundamentally misunderstood their audience.
that one.
Yeah. Anyways, speaking of
Blu-ray is
fundamentally
beautiful.
misunderstanding your audience,
Yeah. Oh, I've been waiting to rip on these guys.
this is a
So
news story
jazzed.
that like literally fell in my lap. Like literally, I was working on the rundown and I opened up Facebook because we use Facebook Messenger to send the rundown to each other for the episode, and literally this popped up on my news feed, and so I had to dig into it and amend the rundown before I sent it out. So Neo Anime Oasis is a long-running anime convention in Idaho, and technically, like they rebooted their numbering with the return from the pandemic. Now, a couple of things about Neo Anime Oasis. Besides taking place in June this year, this is going to be their last convention. They've announced that they are shutting down after this year, so I think that mentality has caused them to, has at least caused the management to just go absolutely bold with their batshit.
Yeah.
Neo Anime Oasis put out a statement on their webpage, and they have amended it. They have removed a part of it. So I'm going to start reading this, and then I'm going to tell you when it's changed. So, Neo Anime Oasis 02 and last Neo Anime Oasis. Neo Anime Oasis is a hotel-based, limited engagement Japanese animation convention. Neo Anime Oasis has a clear vision. Neo Anime Oasis is intended to be the ideal convention for, number 1, attendees who want a complete 3-day weekend experience. Tickets sold for Neo Anime Oasis 02 must be picked up on Friday of the convention. Refunds will not be issued for anyone who fails to do so. One-day tickets are not offered. For those who wish to attend for one day only, don't. It is a 3-day convention for attendees wanting a complete 3-day weekend experience. That's point 1. So, and that part's still up on the website. That's still up. So if you're a person with the job, fuck off. You know, it's you can't go for the Friday and you just want to go to Saturday and Sunday of a con. You can't, and no refunds. Fuck off. All right. Now, point number 2 was originally longer, and I'm going to read what's currently up there, and then I'm going to switch to the archive version of the statement of what was up there yesterday. So point number 2. So this is for attendees who want to attend a convention for only Japanese animation and directly related content such as manga, Japanese video games, Japanese culture, Japanese music. It is not a general pop culture convention. It's for anime people who want to do anime things. And that point ends there on the website right now, but that's not where it ended the other day.
No.
All right. The original point 2 read, starts out attendees who want to attend a convention for only Japanese animation and directly related content such as manga, Japanese culture, Japanese music. It is not a general pop culture convention. Then it goes to, we are aware that this goes against the current trend. There are many popular franchises in the world that are not Japanese animation, but this is not the place for those. Neo Anime Oasis will be implementing hallway dress codes prohibiting costumes that do not belong at the convention. If it doesn't fit the convention themes, just do not bring it. There's no purpose or reason to bring content or costume that do not meet the convention theme. That has you'll note that is different from what is currently on their website.
So like I could cosplay Neo from the Animatrix, but not Neo from the Matrix. This is important.
All right. So that point changed, and we'll talk about that in a moment. So then we go on to point 3. Attendees who understand that attendance is limited, only 1,300 tickets will be sold. This will keep Neo Anime Oasis at a level of attendance that's been determined to be the best size of venue and event functionality. This isn't a random number. It is calculated using years of data and experience. We want those who attend to be able to do the things they want to do at the convention, while at the same time covering the cost of the convention. This also provides a more intimate experience. Now, I actually I've seen people get mad about this point, and I'm like, capping the attendance at 1,300, fine, you can only manage that. And yeah,
I'm not mad about that. I'm
I
mad
know.
about how snooty they are, talking about it. These are calculated numbers.
I'll finish the statement now. We understand that you have the choice of thousands of events nationwide each year. Make an informed decision. If you want a convention for only Japanese animation and related content, Neo Anime Oasis may be a great choice for you. If you prefer something for a wider selection of genre and content, there are better options for that. So yeah, so needless to say, first off, the second point got a lot of pushback because people were because he talks about a dress code and having a hallway dress code.
Force that.
Right. And so obviously people were responding with are you going to kick us out if we show up to the con and we're wearing a Jack Sparrow costume? And so the owner of the convention has backpedaled in some comments. They're oh, where did I say I was ever going to kick people out? And then quietly changed this paragraph on the website because what else would the if you have a dress code, the only way you can enforce it is by kicking people out. What are you talking about? So he's deleted the comment about the dress code. But I go back to that first part, the 3-day weekend experience. That is still up there.
Yeah.
You have to pick it up
That's
Friday.
Insane.
There are so many. I can say as a person who has run a convention that is around the size of what he is doing for years, there are always a good percentage of your weekend badges who are going to pick it up Saturday morning.
And that's not even counting people who might have car trouble
or
get who aren't able to get there on time even though they tried,
or they get their time off of work canceled last minute. You expect there are people with life circumstances who want to go to 2 days of a convention because that's what they can get off. Real life. We're adults with real life and problems. There are years where EverCon is one of them where some of the years I went to EverCon, I had to work the day of the first day of the convention, and I would hop in, and I was vending, and so I hopped in, I'd tell the vendor coordinator that I was going to be late. I would, I was vending, I let them know ahead of time that this was happening. And then I showed up and was setting up my table at 8 at night on Friday.
Yeah, it is not unheard of.
No, it's normal. It's adult life is hard. I'm just but it's if you go to the webpage and there is a whole page called Why the Last Con.
Because you're a dingus, my dude. No.
Maybe because you're being weirdly elitist about liking Japanese cartoons.
So yeah, Jeremy Loppett, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, Loppett, is the chair for Neo Anime Oasis, and the whole thing is I'm 45 now. I was 23 back when we started the first version of this con, and at this point, and I understand just running a small event and not having people to replace you or whatever. But, I think he's just, gone down a road.
Yeah. I understand being, exclusive.
Right.
But this is being excluding.
Yeah, I understand, various things. I understand size restriction. It's
that makes sense, yeah.
No Brand Con,
that's okay.
Historically, when No Brand Con, when we were at the plaza, rest its soul. Like when our con was at the plaza, we had an attendance cap of 1,500 because we just fire code. We had an attendance cap of 1,500 for fire code, and we only hit it one year, and we just kind of didn't hit it. Like it's like we were managing like, okay, this many passes, this many people. Okay, those were Friday passes. Like, okay, so those people aren't here anymore, and like having to like calculate exact numbers at the end of the day, because like we just like skirted under by, I think, when you included all of our staff and vendors and like all of our volunteers, we were like 4 people shy of maxing out fire code.
Nice.
Wow.
Like
Oofta.
that was the last year in Eau Claire. That's, if you want to know why that con moved, that is why. And then it shrank in the new city. But, you know, that's life. It's like, this is like, I understand capping it, but you don't have to be a dick about it.
That's the whole thing, is like, that's what's like putting me off so hard, is because he's being an absolute dick about it.
Yeah. Well, and yeah.
This isn't for general fandom. This is only for anime.
Yeah,
This
it's
is
so
for
like elitist and weird. And
It's a weird thing to be elitist about. And
it is.
I'm sorry, like, if for people who don't know, like, if you are in... I am currently sitting in an office surrounded by anime figurines, Doctor Who statues, and Gundam models. So, like, I'm not casting stones, but I'm also not pretending that it's like...
I'm a 42-year-old I'm a 42-year-old who last year stepped down his convention chair for an event because I was like, I don't want to run this anymore. I'm the artist and vendor head now, but you know, it's like, I'm a person in their 40s who ran a log running anime convention and is literally like, I am as close to like a equivalent, like peer, like age-wise a peer to this person. And I'm shocked dude's event ran this long if he acts like this.
Yeah. I mean, this is assuming that these rules weren't in place beforehand.
It's based on everything I've been reading on the reactions online that they were not. This is new. This is, and it's literally like the front page of the website. Like, it's...
I mean, I suppose this dude is just like, hey, it's the last one. Why not just go crazy?
I only want weebs here. No one else.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's...
He only wants weebs who have the flexibility to, like, be sure they'll be fine on Friday. So, I guess...
he wants Friday weebs in kimonos.
Yeah.
Also, I'm gonna be real with you. Like, maybe it's just like the quality
Boise
of programming
nuts.
that I've been around lately, but I have, the last couple years, the only reason I have had to stick around a con on Sunday has been like to help a vendor or an artist pack up. Like, there's... Sundays are for going around and giving hugs to people, then going home. What is this 3-day event that is?
I have a lot of fun on Sundays at cons. What do you?
I'm glad that you do.
I'll just say it doesn't help the fact that like the three of us have been going to conventions for decades now.
That's true.
And so we kind of know. We've been there, done that on all the days, all this, like, so I'm a little bit in the same boat where it's like, sometimes I just don't know what to do with myself at a con because I've done everything. There's not really anything new to do. I
haven't gone to a con without tabling for a long time.
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm talking about. When you don't have a table, when you don't have like a responsibility to the event.
Yep.
Sundays are kind of...
Oh, it feels
well,
weird.
Sundays are usually for like a last vendor room trip. And
Yeah.
then it depends on if there's a panel on the schedule that like looks like it would be fun.
As I say, yeah, I guess that's a fair point. So like I say that that's the case, but then I think back to GeekCon when someone that one year that someone put my Kikiter panel at like 9 a.m. on a Sunday, and I packed up my room and assumed it was going to be a very quiet panel that no one would go to. And then I filled the room and got to talk about Robot Pinocchio for an hour.
Well, you got to remember though, a con like GeekCon had local attendees.
That's true.
Who were just, a con like that has people who after the con they're gonna drive 5 minutes and be home.
I mean, yeah, it's just I'm surprised those local attendees were willing to wake up that early to talk about Robo Pinocchio. That's all I'm getting at. Impresses me. Robokio, if you will.
Yeah, the weird elitism of this dude just like weirds me out, and I'm just like, you know what? You're gonna like, I know you're hoping for a bunch of people, but you're actually like excluding quite a few people just by putting this statement out there.
This reminds me of an elitism in the anime fandom that has been slowly dying, and I've been glad that it's been going away more and more, at least in my experience. And I do whatever I can to discourage it, because it's one thing to love Japanese animation. I think that that's a good thing to do. I personally do it. But it's another thing to think that you have some superiority because you watch cartoons from Japan. That's not how that works. And it never will be.
Yeah. So this is our most convention heavy episode in a long time.
And a lot of it's bad marketing.
Yeah.
Like, come on, guys.
All of these were avoidable. There's so much voluntary failure here.
Yeah.
I'm just
title
going
of the
to,
episode.
I'm just going to, if anyone is going to Neo Anime Oasis, though, let me get you. I'm gonna pull up some good options for you. For example, you can cosplay Riddick from the Chronicles of Riddick films, because he did have an anime movie straight to video. Yep. There are several Star Wars characters, including Jedi, Stormtroopers, and Grogu himself, who are in anime. So those are all good options. Like I said, everyone who appears in the Animatrix, so like Neo, Trinity, Morpheus, all of them do
that weird horse thing.
Yeah, the weird horse thing. Yeah, all of them, they're in there. Let's see. There were Batman. Batman is on the table. Batman Gotham Knight was a collection of shorts by various anime studios. Batman is still on the table. Several Marvel heroes, including the X-Men, Iron Man, Wolverine, and Blade, all have not very good anime made about them by Studio Madhouse.
Hey, you could just dress up as Wolverine from Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, basically anyone who is in Marvel vs. Capcom counts. So you got a lot of options here. Yeah, Spider-Man, you absolutely can do.
Marvel vs. Capcom, that's a Japanese video game. Get on it.
Oh, most of the Avengers, because there was that Avengers Disc Warriors anime a couple years back.
That's right.
That not only includes the Avengers, that also includes Deadpool, also on the table. Okay, so there's a lot of great workarounds. So just hit me up. I can help you guys with more if you need any more ideas. Just keep those cosplays Japan animation friendly. Just let me know.
Oh boy.
It's such a dumb rule. It's just so dumb.
Yeah, to be fair, I think they got rid of it, but yeah, the wind was not blowing in his direction.
No. I love a good theme, but don't force it on don't force it on the Concours. Don't force it on the attendees. Never force it on the attendees. Never. Invite them, but don't force it.
It's, again, voluntary failure.
Yep.
invite them. Maybe find a cute way to acknowledge it, but don't force it.
All right. We should move on to the last bit of the episode, the Vomit Hat Steve Challenge. The Vomit Hat Steve Challenge is part of the show where I read a part of a book to you, and the challenge to you is to guess what book I am reading. We've been doing this a long time, and I feel like we kind of lost the momentum of the Vomit Hat Steve Challenge. So this is what we're going to do. I've made this decision literally 20 minutes ago, and so this is what we're going to do. I have been reading from the same book for a long-ass time. I am tired of seeing this book on my desk. This is what we're going to do. If you can guess the book I'm reading from, and you live in the continental United States, I will send you this book if you guess it correctly. I will send you my personal copy of this book.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know how I'm going to get it to you or how I'm going to ship it, but I will figure it out. If you turn out to be a person I know, maybe I'll get it to you directly. But
that's future Trey's problem.
That is future Trey's problem. I'm going to keep reading from this book until somebody guesses it, and then they get to take this goddamn book. That is the one benefit to this. So that is incentive for previous Hall of Awesome winners to try to get this one. The current members of the Hall of Awesome are as follows: Archimide, Zero, Rena Incenti, Cheesy McDammy, Krista, Slytherin, Shameless Otaku, The Random Ramblings Band, Corfan, Capito, Cursegram, Millisaurus, Paper Godzilla, Cavsy, The Minnesota Librarian, Sean Orange, Keith Shuzo, Sakura Sunset, Joel Carson, Patrick Delante, Wonderland Arts, Megsy Sass Council. Forgot to take a breath before I started, and then I realized how long that list was. All right. So I'm going to read a line from this book. And if you know what it is, go to the contact form on nerdandtie.com and tell us. I'm going to pick a random line. Not even going to try to disguise stuff. Well, okay, I'm reading this line, but I don't know how good of a hint it is. He had retired 10 years ago and more or less settled into a comfortable life on a small but meticulously maintained farm in a still rural area of Georgia. If you know what book that's from, tell us. You can go back a few episodes and listen to other lines from this book. Like probably the last year you can listen to lines from this book.
Yeah, you could like pretty easily. Come on. I believe in you.
Some of you have gotten close, but you haven't gotten it. So go to nerdandtie.com, click on the contact form.
I personally believe in you. And remember that teacher who didn't? They were wrong. But I believe in you. I do. I believe in you.
Anyways, if you have anything else you'd also like to write, that contact form could be written for mailbag stuff. And we encourage the mailbagging of America.
Everybody.
Or you can mailbag in Canada too, or other places in the world. We're okay with that. It's your choice, your life. We accept all here, except for the few we don't accept. Anyways, with that, we should probably get running. I guess I'm Trey Dorn.
I am Celeste, and I am best.
I'm the Genjamin.
And remember, you can subscribe to this show on Apple Podcasts, on Google Podcasts, on Spotify, or just anywhere else you find a podcast. And please consider rating and reviewing us in those platforms because it really does help our visibility. And you can also follow the show on social media. We are at Nerd and Tie on Twitter, I guess. Twitter is a fire that burns, and occasionally I glance at it. But technically, all of our stuff does still auto-post to Twitter, so you can follow our shows on Twitter. You can follow us on Tumblr at nerdandtie.tumblr.com. You can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/nerdandtie. And remember, you can support the show financially either by sponsoring an episode, or you can support us financially directly. I have a Patreon at patreon.com/TRAEGORN. Celeste has a Patreon at, what's your Patreon, Celeste?
Patreon.com/CelesteIsBest.
And Gen sells neat things on the internet as Ocelot Dude Designs. What's in the shop right now, Gen?
Mothman pillows.
Heck yeah.
Hell yeah. All right, so just remember, in your hearts and your mind and the places that you sit at night quietly thinking to yourself, thinking about the times that when you were younger, when you had better choices ahead of you than the ones you have made now. In those moments, in those bleakness, just remember, somewhere outside your window, probably peeping in, is one of us. All of us, or none of us, depending on the exact moment. And we're here there with you, in that darkness, in that place, in that time, ready to embrace you consensually. So you don't have to. Like, we'll give you a respectful distance if you want it. But, if you want a hug, just go outside and hug that dark figure outside your window. It's probably one of us, we swear. Now, I take all that back. Do not hug the person standing outside your house. Don't hug them. Stay inside, lock the windows and doors, never go outside again. Be safe. Yeah.
And remember, you can use potato chips to befriend the cats wearing masks outside.
But also remember, if you have a potato, you have all the best things from Idaho. And none of them are Neo Anime Oasis.